What's up, super players? Today I got one of my new favorite leaders, and the reason he's my favorite is because he's gonna go against the one and only Mira that Tony G is running. And who could be the perfect opponent for Mira? Well, it's Trunks. This deck I built is pretty unique, I think. I added a bunch of spice into it, so let's get straight into it. Let's zoom into this one and only Trunks. So what is this Trunks? This Trunks is a monster because you get to draw, and every time you attack, you have to drop 2 cards from the top of your deck to the drop area. It's a mandatory, but if there happens to be a blue or a red, you get a draw effect. And that is what this deck is pretty much going to be revolving around, red and blue. So let's go into the Trunks Xeno. That's his main auto effect, but then when you awaken, you don't draw 2, you don't untap 2, you get to get 1 card from your warp that happens to be in the warp area because you warped it, and you get to add it to your hand, and that ability is what we're trying to make this deck revolve around. So that's Trunks. When you awaken, you get that 1 card in your warp added to your hand. It could be battle card, it could be extra card, it could be whatever you want it to be. And then we got this guy. What's his effect? Now it's every time you attack, you don't have to do the mandatory drop 2. You could voluntarily activate its effect when you want to use it, the dropping 2. So that on its own is very good because it gives you a little bit of control with milling from the top of your deck, because you don't want to always mill, because then you could drop some very valuable cards. So that's what it does, and then when you attack, you draw. And this is the unique thing about this leader and why we built this deck around the way it's built. So when you happen to have 5 cards in the drop, you get to warp 5 of them, and then he gains a 5k boost, so he becomes pretty much a 20,000 double striker, so you can pressure your opponent to go for game. So that's the leader. We're gonna put the leader right here on the side. Then we got Saiyan Kaba. Saiyan Kaba is what I call the best 1-drop in the game. I couldn't even say that. That was kind of a tongue twister. Why? Because when you attack, you pick up 1 card from your life, and hitting yourself can be damaging, but you do get a double striker 15k early game. So this is, and self-awakening, because this game you relatively always want to self-awaken. And then after that, we got that one unique twist to what makes this deck awesome. Since your leader Trunks right here is always going to be attacking, you want to be making damage and causing offensive pressure as much as possible, and M2 does that. If your opponent wants to stall you out, guess what? You got M2 to drop his 15k leader to 10k, and you could keep attacking with this guy and keep on the pressure. M2 is ultimately what makes this deck, and I'll explain how M2 makes this deck. We got the bodyguard. Since this guy's effect, the leader works with red and blue, we got a bunch of red cards, right? We want to see a red card, at least 1 in the drop area, in order to get this guy's main effect going. So we got bodyguard Ledric. The reason we have him is because he's a perfect guy to play, and you want to play him without using any energy. In the beginning of the game, you don't want to have any battle cards relatively. You want to use this guy to have defense or offense depending on which route you're trying to go. And then after that, we got the one and only Jiren Fist of Justice. The reason we have Jiren Fist of Justice is because he is our spot removal. Every deck needs a thing that will remove from the field. So this guy is pretty much like a broom. He just sweeps away battle cards, literally, because it becomes a 30,000, and he restands, and then you can pressure your opponent. And for that reason, we are running 3 of these Jiren Fist of Justice. And then we got Miraculous Comeback Ultimate Gohan. This guy is what makes this deck late game. You have less than 4 cards in your hand, or 3 cards including this card. You get to play them for 2 red energy. 2, and then you got a 25k going for game, double strike, and if you hit a battle card and kill it, they lose a life. Double strike, I think. Yeah, they lose life. That's crazy. Wait, I gotta make sure. If you KO a battle card, yeah, they lose like pretty much a double strike. They lose 2 lives. That's insane. That card is beast. That's why we run 3, and seeing it late game is so good. Then we got Unbreakable Super Saiyan Son Goku. This guy is what we need for that combo drawing action. You got to protect yourself. You're trying to go for game. We're running 2 of these in order to have that ability going. You know what I mean? And then we got Fearless Pan. See, if you guys haven't catched, this deck is pretty aggro. We're trying to go in hard in the paint fast with the red. We're trying to damage our opponent quick. And Fearless Pan is that finishing card that gives all these red cards I just showed you double strike 5k for the turn to pressure your opponent hard late game, and it's a barrier blocker, so at the very least you got a defensive wall right after. And we got good amount of red defensive package with the bodyguard and Pan, and then chain attack Trunks. We have this card because the whole deck revolves around this card. Why? Because of what is coming forth. This card is insanely good for the fact that not only that it's a permanent effect that you can attack active cards. When you play this card, you can play a 15k beater, so you can play this Pan if you choose to. You can play this bodyguard, you can play this Saiyan Kaba, a 15k from your hand without any cost. And the reason that is so good with this deck is because of this reason right now, and I'll explain. We're running 4 of these. The play him and play another 15k is magnificent for the fact that we have this beast right here, Xeno. Pretty much, I guarantee, I've been playing this deck. I played it against androids, even some Mecha Friezas, some Super Saiyan Gokus, Super Saiyan 3 Gokus, and I've been doing pretty darn well because of this card right here, the Plain God Xeno. Once you play this guy with 4 red energies, you better have this guy in your hand, and then you just completely wipe the field, your opponent's hand that you just gave them from going hard in the paint with all our red cards earlier. You wipe it all up and you sweep it into the deck, and then you reset the board and the hand, and your opponent's just sitting there like, dang, I just took all those red punches. And then the fact, wait up, this is the key, the fact that you have Planet M2 still on play because it only sweeps up battle cards. You're going to be able to bring the pressure very, very late game with the M2. This deck is, I'm telling you, is magnificent. We're running 3 because that's all I've needed to do. I've never had to do more than 1 or 2 Xenos in one game. And then we got the Negate Whis. The blues have came out and are gonna wreck because this is blue. We're getting 4 Whis coercions because there is 4 negates, and our blues are pretty much our defensive package, and because our leader works with red or blue in the drop area, it's magnificent. And the fact that when you awaken and you get to choose one of your warp cards, that's even better because what's the missing piece? You either keep one of these or one of these, and you get the missing piece with your leader that lets you get any card in the warp. So you better be playing it smart with this deck. We got Sensu Beam after. Why not have Sensu Beam? It makes you plays, it gives you 5k, you untap 1 extra energy, and it can save your life, literally save your life. So we're running 4 of those because it's a must. We got Jocos. The blues, like I said, is the only defensive package of this deck. It's pure defense. Blue is defense, so we're running 3 Jocos. No, not 3. We're running 4 Jocos because this is the blue card. Jocko is the blue card we're going to want to throw. With this deck, you only throw out 1 blue energy. If you have to throw out more, then you throw out more, but you just got to throw out 1 blue, and then all the rest of the blue cards are pure defense. Then we got our black. We got Supreme Kai Protectors. This is our 10k boost for the black leader, and we're running 4 of these. As soon as you have 5 in the warp, you get to combo. So you can have 7 lives, but if you warped over round and you have 5 in the warp, you get to do it early game. And then we got Time Patrol Trunks. This guy is what I call a beast for the fact that you get to overrun for when you have 3, so your leader is gonna mill 2 every time you attack, and you're usually gonna draw 1 because you're always gonna have a card that's either blue or red in the drop. This guy gives you just more draw power, and if you're missing the last piece, if you have this guy and you manage to find this guy, you got the puzzle. The whole deck revolves around this little chain right here. So Xeno Trunks, amazing. And then we need more offensive pressure, so that's why we have Mass Saiyan and a good spot removal. There's not that many spot removal in this deck besides Xeno, the main god. So this guy's gonna remove all the weak guys, all the very mid-game battle cards like Kaba, Chaos, and such forth. And then one of my new favorite cards of the entire set is this Bardock, the Mass Saiyan. This black overround card is so good. You pick up one of your lives and it helps you self-awaken, and on top of that you get to warp one of your opponent's battle cards with 5 costs or less, so you get to like banish them from the field, and on top of that you get a 20,000 attack, which is so very good, especially once you need to awaken. So that's gonna be pretty much the end of the deck profile. We're running 3 of those, and we're gonna find out who's gonna come out on top, Mira or Xeno Trunks. Who knows, we're gonna see, but like we always say, y'all stay super.